Hello everyone. Today I am going to share with you my recipe for beef stew. I'm going to be cutting this on a size that would be perfect so that I could brown this before I continue with the rest of the cooking process. I like to cut them into big chunks. Makes it easier for handling. This is chuck roast, which is a very flavorful part of the beef, but it's fatty. That's why I like to trim it first and then cut it in a size that I would like it to be. To get it started, mix it in and let's turn on the heat, get it started as well. And the next thing that I'd like to add to this is just plain regular flour. I like to kind of drizzle this on the meat before I brown it. Kind of help the browning process as well as retain the meat juices. I'm going to put some oil in there. Add as you go. As you need it, just add more. And I'm going to bring this closer so you could see what is happening inside the pot as I brown the meat. Yep, there it is, nice and hot enough so that the minute you put the meat in there, it'll sizzle. Now you want that in order for the meat to brown right. Ooh, let's try this. Hard to work with left hand because I'm a right-handed person. Don't put too much meat. You don't want to crowd it, as it will create some steam and the meat will have problem browning. Close. Okay, closer. So we're gonna let it brown. Maybe put it on high all the way. And soon as it brown on one side, you turn on the other side and let that brown as well. Try to brown it on all sides. Okay, I'm at the last batch of my beef stew. I browned all of them except for this. I'm gonna take this out and put it here. Now let me put adjust the heat. Have to lower it as it was going a little too high. So now this is what we got left in the pot. This will make a very good flavor on your stew. So yesterday I made sofrito. So we're going to saute the sofrito a little bit. Bring it to a point where it's very aromatic. and the moisture is slightly reduced in order to concentrate the flavor of the ingredients. Okay. Something I forgot. Excuse me. Okay. Now you see that most of the moisture from the sofrito has evaporated, and all the ingredients are now, the flavor are now concentrated. We're gonna put the meat back in it. Get the sofrito to coat the meat. Smells so good. Okay. Now the reason why I use this pot, as you can see, this pot is a very heavy type of, I believe this is called Dutch oven pot. It's, once I get everything put together, I am going to put this in the oven and let it continue cooking until it's tender. Then I will go ahead and finish it with the rest of the ingredients, which I will be showing you how I do it. Now, this here is a homemade broth that I made earlier before. I'm gonna put probably just enough so that it covers the meat. Cover it. Turn that off. And I will be putting this in the oven and let it tenderize in it while I'm preparing the rest of the ingredients. So I got the oven preheating. And I'm gonna stick this in the oven for now. Okay, all this vegetable I washed, and I'm just gonna cut it into these pieces, cube it, basically half and then another half. So these are cremini or baby portobello mushroom, one of my favorite mushroom besides shiitake. I just love mushrooms. Could never have enough of this. Cut it in about that much, about an inch. It's important to cut them their size uniform. So, but there is something about roasting your vegetable to really enhance the flavor with its own seasonings and developing its own flavor. My cooking is just not as good as it could have been if it doesn't have onion. So since I have this one available, I'm just going to wrap chop this like that and toss it in with the rest of the vegetable. Okay. Okay. Just toss the vegetable around and try and get some of that olive oil, salt and pepper, you know, to coat the vegetables, and then spread it out as much as you can. That way they all could cook evenly. And oregano and rosemary in there. I didn't bother chopping it up, just in case. I decided some people that might want to eat this don't really care for these two ingredients. I could easily fish it out. Okay, here we go. Let me get something to clean my hand so that my hand is not slippery. Gonna put it in the oven. Vegetables are roasted. Let me go ahead and turn that off for a little while. Get the heat. And let's check the stew. Okay. Ooh, camera. Got very foggy. Okay. Here, let's position it that way. Let's check the vegetables. Yep, it's done. It's got a slight resistance to it, which will be perfect because you do not want this to be thoroughly soft, really tender. You want it so that you have enough time to cook it together with the meat, the stew, so that the flavor would marry or incorporate. Okay, the meat, oh yes, perfect consistency, just the right amount of tenderness so that I could add all of this vegetable in it. Here is the herbs that I had put earlier. This is the oregano and rosemary, which imparted its flavor. And now I'm going to show you another ingredient. This is optional, but my husband loved this. He practically put this in just about anything he eats. He loves olives, and being that it's stew, olives should be perfect for it. So I'm going to use this instead of regular tomato sauce. You could use regular tomato sauce, don't worry about it, it'll come out good. But being that this is a salsa, it will impart a little bit of a kick. Not hot, but it'll give that spiciness to it and really pump up the flavor of your stew, so to speak. I'm going to put about this much, practically cover it. Now, we don't want it to taste nothing but tomato, although the tomato flavor would be absolutely delicious in it. But we want the flavor of each individual ingredients, the meat, the vegetables, the herbs, and not be covered by just the flavor of the tomato sauce or salsa in this case, since that's what I put in here. So we're gonna put this back in the oven, let it continue. Well, I had it 450 degree earlier, so I'm going to put it on 425. Tomatoes sometimes tend to burn, and I don't think it should burn since it's still got the chicken broth in it. But just to be on the safe side, put it on 425. It's still very hot. Okay, let's try to open this without fogging up the camera. So let's put a little cover here. Okay, there. Oh my! I'm going to use the rubber spatula to minimize the breaking of the vegetable for presentation purpose. I like to see my vegetable whole. Okay, this prevents it from breaking the tender vegetable. Just kind of push it around, kind of incorporate the sauce with the meat like that. And okay, let's try. Let's check out the, okay, there we go, nice and tender. We really don't want it too mushy. Carrots is one of the vegetables that I don't like to be too soft and soggy. This is perfect. It holds its shape. And potato, there you go, you see, cut with no problem at all. And obviously the mushroom will be cooked as well. Now let's try the meat and see, as far as the consistency and texture. And put it closer. Okay, here's a piece of the meat. Oh yes, see how easily that piece just came out? It's very tender right there. Now I guess the next step is to try it to make sure that our seasoning is just right, or we might have to adjust it. It's so good. I'm sure Miguel will be very happy when he come home for dinner tonight. Now I just have to work on my bread and other sides for this.